Hello and welcome back to my channel. Mabel is here. If you hear weird noises, that is Mabel. I am Rachel. I am going to be going over my TBR for 2024 and also doing a book haul because I have purchased, bought, or received quite a few books recently, including Christmas, and I haven't done a book haul since summer, so just a lot of books, and that really is my TBR, so I thought I would just kill two birds with one stone. And then at the end I will go through kind of like the books I'm hoping to read sooner. Obviously I want to read all of these books, but then there's also other books I don't own that I'm going to be working on, so that's what's happening today. Yay! It's like day 2 of being not snowed in, like I could get out if I wanted to, but the snowplow just went through for the first time in 2 days. So a lot better chances of getting where I want to go. Still not sure if I'm going to be leaving the house today, but what a day to review some books, right? Or go over them. I have literal piles of books around me, and they are in no particular order. So I guess I'm just going to be grabbing books. So let's get started. Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. This is one that my mother read and gave to me. I think this is more of like a thriller than her other ones have been. Yeah, like the tagline is "Forgetting is terrifying, but remembering might be worse." I like to go into Taylor. Colleen Hoover books, not really knowing what they are about. I normally really like them. This is one of her more recent ones, I believe. Let's see, what year was this? Because I do feel like as I've been reading her backlog, the really far backlog aren't great. Oh, this is 2017. So, yeah, I think that's still one of her more recent ones. I'll let you know. But I feel like Colleen Hoover's are like one sitting books. So it's really just a matter of when I pick it up. Then I have The Retreat. Oh, and don't mind all these freaking Barnes & Noble stickers that I have to take off. I like to take them off after I read them or like when I'm reading them. So this is The Retreat. This is the sequel to The Sanatorium, which I read maybe in 2022. I read it on my European cruise. So that one was just like pleasantly surprising, not like a super fast thriller, but I did really like it. This is the same character, like the same detective who had all sorts of trauma in the first book. So I thought I'd pick that up. Because I feel, yeah, it's just really nice to know that you probably will like the book because you liked the previous. And then I have Flowers in the Attic. I feel drawn to this, obviously, because of the controversy. So apparently it's a story about like incest and like child abuse, and it's a classic. So I thought I would read it, see what the fuss is about. Then I have Vicious, Vicious and Vengeful are V.E. Schwab books. I love V.E. Schwab. So like Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Fragile Threads of Power. Her books are normally 4 or 5 stars. I love the characters. I love her worlds that she builds. I know nothing about this. I just know that I like her. And this was published this is a little bit backlogged, I think. 2013. So one of her like earlier ones, but so I believe that V.E. Schwab are her adult books and Victoria Schwab are her like junior fiction. So I've read both. I like all of them. And then I have, okay, so this is gonna be a big accomplishment for the year if I do it. So I have the Stormlight Archive. Let's see if I can. The Stormlight Archive is these 4 mammoth books. I have wanted to read more Brandon Sanderson since I finished the Wheel of Time series. He did not start writing the Wheel of Time. He finished it after Robin Jordan passed away. And I really liked what he did with that series. Like I felt like what was a good world, but kind of like in the weeds of detail, and just like so many characters. He did such a good job like wrapping up the story and making it come alive. So I really liked the last few books in that series, so I wanted to see what he did with his own epic story. This book is 1,000 pages. Like, it doesn't really look like it's that thick, but the pages are so thin. I am on page 220. So I feel like things are starting to pick up. It's starting to get easier to read. First, it's just kind of a slog because you are learning a whole new world and all these characters. And so I don't expect for fantasy to necessarily, like, especially not series this big, to pick up and move that quickly. But I am planning to read this series. I've heard really good things about it. So it's The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War. So I will probably not read them back to back, but I feel like I'll like maybe try to read one a month or one every other month, just because sometimes it's really hard to read other books when you, like, I feel like I'm going to need to like read a really short book that I can read in one sitting to not like interrupt this reading, but also to like feel like I'm moving forward in my reading goals. So audiobooks are great for that. Another fantasy that I've heard really good things about is The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. So it's a Crowns of Nyaxia novel. I honestly don't know anything about this. I just know that this has gotten a lot of hype. This has been hyped kind of similar to Fourth Wing, where I feel like it wasn't like it wasn't necessarily even like published by a publisher, and then got so much following that now I believe it's published by a publisher, and it took me a long time to like find a copy. So this one I bought at Target, but it was like unavailable on Amazon for a while, I think because they were like switching publishers. So it says it has all the fun of A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I hope it's more fun than that because I did not like that book. Okay. I'm going to read some of the inside cover. For humans or vampires, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always, always guard your heart. The adopted human daughter of the night-born vampire king, Aurea, carved her place in a world designed to kill her. Her only chance to become something more than prey is entering the Kajari, a legendary tournament held by the goddess of death herself. I'm hooked. Love vampires. Love fights to the death. Or any sort of competition. I'm very competitive and have no skills to back them up, at least athletically. But I really love to read about people that are good at competitions. Love it. So I'm excited about that one. And then I just in December read The Chase. Yeah, The Chase by Elle Kennedy. It's a Briar U book. These are like a spin-off of the other like hockey series from this university by Elle Kennedy. I really liked The Chase. I'm hoping that The Risk is just as good. I already know who the character is because it's like a friend in the first book. So picked up the next one. These I'll probably just buy one at a time. I don't want to have them like sitting waiting for me to read because I feel like I can just get to them when I get to them. But I really like Elle Kennedy. So I'm probably going to be chipping away at her books as well this year. And then I've heard really good things about Penelope Douglas. So this is one of the ones that I've been recommended. I honestly don't even know what it's about. Oh, it says it's a TikTok smash hit. So Jordan and her boyfriend have nowhere else to go when her boyfriend's dad, Pike, offers to let them move in with him. Working a dead-end job with her relationship on the rack, she reluctantly accepts, expecting to help out around the house in exchange. What she doesn't anticipate is for her heart to race every time Pike pulls into the driveway. ... So I think she's going to fall in love with her boyfriend's dad. That sounds racy. And I have heard this is racy. Don't pick this up if you don't like spice. All right. Christina Lauren, working through some more of their books because I just love them so much. My favorite Half Nightstand. So I think this is the story of someone, they like have a one night stand and then end up probably falling in love would be my guess. So I might read this in February, just because February I normally hit some romance pretty hard. Love these books. They are so good. Probably, I think that Christina Lauren might be my, like, one of my top 3 favorite authors. And not even that I, like, went out searching for their books, but everyone I read is 4 or 5 stars. And I feel like that just makes you a favorite. Maidens of the Cave by Lloyd Devereaux Richards. This is the follow-up of Iron Maidens. So Iron Maidens was a book that, Stone Maidens. This is a book that he wrote like 20 years ago, and his daughter advertised for it on TikTok for people to read it, and then it became a sensation. So I purchased it because I just love an underdog story and like seeing what the hype is about. And it was either going to be really bad or really good. Like, why not try? And I thought it was really good, and this is the sequel. So again, the detective in the first book, it's her again. The first book really dealt with like her personal trauma, so I'm not sure how he's gonna make it as like poignant or high stakes, but we'll see. I really liked the writing. So I also just feel like what a fun like story that like the internet is how you became popular, because traditional publishing apparently did not accept him. So 1 point for the internet and social media. All right. Another Christina Lauren, Roomies. I don't know how much I need to explain about these. Oh, the main character's name is Holland. I love that. For months, Holland Baker has invented excuses to descend into the subway station near her apartment, drawn to the music performed by her street musician crush. Lacking the nerve to actually talk to the captivating guitarist, fate steps in one night in the form of a drunken attacker. Right. Look, it's going to be great. It is. These are backlisted books. These are not their newest ones. Their next one coming out is The Paradise Problem. This one, 2017. So not that long ago. And then the book that I bought multiple copies of because I didn't realize I already owned it. Same Time Next Summer. This was a very popular book this summer. I just did not get to it in summertime, and I didn't want to read it in like November. So I'm saving it for like June, July, August, September, when it's hot and I'm by a pool. I don't know anything about this except that it's a summer romance. Beach rules: do take long walks on the sand, do put an umbrella in every cocktail, do not run into your first love. And it's a pretty short one, which I love. You don't have to be long to be good. All right, one of my favorite fantasy novel writers is Naomi Novik. So she has written Uprooted, which is one of my favorite books, Spinning Silver, the Schoolomance series, which I finished, I think, last year, and it was devastating and amazing. So I believe this is YA, and this was written about dragons before these other books that I've read. And my sister has read these, and I've heard really good things, so I just thought I would get started on this series. So His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik. They're the Temeraire series. So it says, in the first novel of the best-selling Temeraire series, a rare bond is formed between a young man and a dragon, and together they must battle in the Napoleonic Wars. I love dragons. Maybe that will scratch the fourth wing itch while we wait for the third book to come out as well. Another Penelope Douglas that I've heard good things about is Punk 57. And this, it sounds like, is like pen pals who fall in love somehow. And it's probably going to be spicy. Like, I think they grow up and then they're pen pals. So, Punk 57. Light Lark is one that I've seen everywhere, and then I had a coworker that said it was a very good book. They're reading the second book, Nightbane, I believe, and I love a good fantasy, so I thought if it has even just one endorsement, I'm going to read it. It says, welcome to the Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Light Lark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves in their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. It's giving, what's that? Caravel. If you've read Caravel, that's the vibe I'm getting. Like, it only appears for a little bit. It's a game where people die. But it sounds good. Another Christina Lauren. Did not realize this was like book 2 in the series. So I will have to just put this on the TBR until I either get or can rent the other ones. So I get annoyed when it's not like I want to know. So I don't buy just this one. So I think Sweet Filthy Boy is the first one that I need to get. And then this is Dirty Rowdy Thing. I would never have picked these up, but because it's Christina Lauren, I feel like I have to at least give it a chance. And then if I find out that like their backlogged books are not good, I will stop reading them. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it is. And then there's also the Beautiful Bastard series, which again, I don't know that I want to read them, but it's by them and I love these books. So yeah. One of my favorite books of the last few years, because I reread it, is Faking Under the Mistletoe by Ashley Shepherd. This is her other book. So I know nothing about it, but if it's even a little bit like the other one, it'll be a new favorite. Like, the banter in Faking Under the Mistletoe is just so freaking good. I gave it 5 stars 2 years in a row. I will probably now have it on my TBR for every December because I love it so much. So, it's about Willa Loveridge, who likes to be in control, and then things spin out of control. Mostly, I can't stop looking at this cover. Like, this cover is so gorgeous. The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. So it sounds like someone is murdered. So 1962, the Meekmack family lives in Maine to pick blueberries. And then weeks later, their 4-year-old vanishes. So it's like about the, hunt for her. Oh, I didn't realize how, big the writing was. This is actually not a very big book. I also I really don't like when the pages are like this. I don't know what that's called. But I like for the pages to be even. It's so hard to turn pages when they're fancy. But, so, murder mystery, migrants, just the most gorgeous cover. So I hope the book is good. And I love blueberries. They might be my favorite fruit. So I don't know if I need to save this for July when the blueberries are out. We'll see. I read Icebreaker last year. So Wildfire is at least in the same world by Hannah Grace. The first was smutty hockey. And this sounds like it's summer camp. Smutty summer camp, Wildfire. Then my sister loaned me Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score, and she's supposed to be giving me the last of the Knock 'Em Out series as well, the one about Lucian, so I will be reading that as well. I know nothing about this, but I know that she really liked it. Someone is going home. Just going to be a PE teacher and a soccer coach. So, I guess, yeah, soccer. Makes sense. But I really liked Lucy Score. So, the second in the Knock 'Em Out series was not my favorite just because I didn't love the dynamics of those relationships, but I did not dislike it enough to not want to keep reading. And I know that Jenna really liked this one, so read that one. And then speaking of epic books, I found this in a used bookstore. So The Pillars of the Earth. Again, this is one that has been on my TBR for a minute. I have read another, I think I read Paris by him by Ken Follett, and it was it's super epic, but like written very well. Like it was a page turner. I've heard good things about this. I wanted to read it, but I thought that if I had a physical copy of it, it would be easier for me to read. And yeah, I'm excited. So tells the story of Philip, Prior of Kingsbridge, a devout and resourceful monk driven to build the greatest Gothic cathedral the world has known. And then Tom, the mason who becomes his architect, a man divided in his soul, and the elusive Lady Ileana, haunted by a secret shame, and of a struggle between good and evil that will turn church against state and brother against brother. Sounds good. Can you hear Mabel snoring? She's such a noisy dog. All right, now is the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson. This is like not related in story, but it is written by the author of Nothing to See Here, where the children start on fire when they're upset. Loved that book. 5 out of 5. One of my favorite books of like 2021, I think. Sorry. So I couldn't not get this. It is not long. Just haven't gotten to it yet. And then a book that I purchased but did not read in time this year, so I will save it for this coming December, is Love, Holly by Emily Stone. So she has written Always in December and something else. I don't think I've read either of those. I just love a good holiday romance. I read a bunch this month. I just didn't get to this one, and I don't want to read it in January. Like, the vibes were off. So, and then totally switching gears, Medical Apartheid. So this is about how Black people in America have been experimented on medically. I'm sure this is going to be heavy and deep and awful, but I think it's important to know these stories, especially as a medical professional and working in a field where more Black women are injured or die in childbirth than in any other country. Maybe not any other country, but like the rates are awful. So I do think it's important to know what we as a country have done to Black people and like know where some of their fear and distrust of medicine comes from, as well as like change it. So I hope it's well written. I've read another book that had similar content and it just wasn't well written, and I felt really bad about it, but it was boring and not like such interesting topics and written so bad. Okay, catch up on book of the month. So this was not a book of the month that I got, but I've heard good things about it. The Magnolia Palace. I bought this at a used bookstore. It's by Fiona Davis. It is about it's a tantalizing novel about secrets, betrayal, and murder within one of New York City's most impressive Gilded Age mansions. So Gilded Age is like 1920s, 30s. Well, before the stock market crash. So yeah, bought this at a used bookstore. It looks beautiful. I love Book of the Month books because they look so pretty on the bookshelf. I don't think I have a single book that is this like purple color, purple pink. It's so pretty. So yeah, I need to read that. And then my most recent book of the month is The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. I know literally nothing about this. It's a Cosmic Debt Generations in the Making. So it's $18.95, and it sounds like, this man decides to rob someone. And then there's another 1964. So it's a family saga. Western. Sounds good. I'm really into Westerns recently, so I just started to watch. I just watched 1883 and 1923, which are the spin-offs of Yellowstone. That's why I picked this one, because I'm just into Westerns right now. Then as my add-on, I did Ruthless Vows, which is the follow-up to, what is the other one? Divine Rivals. Man, I would never have been able to come up with that. So this is like 2 war correspondents that are enemies to lover. And we ended with a very big twist. And I'm excited to see how that ends. I will probably read this soon. This will probably be one of my sooner ones. And I have What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. So this is 19th century Buenos Aires, which, I mean, you can really say less. But it looks Egyptian. Oh, she inherits a massive fortune in a partnership in archaeology with her Egyptian brother-in-law. So she sails to Cairo. Okay, so it's like Buenos Aires, Cairo. So the mummy meets death on the Nile. I'm interested. I don't know if it was just how our history was set up, but we learned about Egypt in like 6th grade. And I just remember being so hungry for knowledge about Egypt. I just love freaking Egypt so much. So any Egyptian stories, I love. Now, a couple more backlogged book of the month. The Unmaking of June Farrow. I just recently read Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, gave it 5 stars. So this is another one I got from Book of the Month. A woman risks everything to end her family's century-old curse, solve her mother's disappearance, and find love in the mesmerizing novel from the best-selling author of Spells for Forgetting. So, I just know I'll be good. So I feel like Adrienne Young does a really good job at, like, creepy, like, speculative. Like, it's not fantasy because it's, like, real life, but then there's just, like, a tiny element. Like, there's a ghost, or there's someone can do like a little bit of magic. I like her books a lot. Fable and Namesake. So good. And No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. One of the YouTubers that I follow loves Kate Alice Marshall. I've never read any of her books, so they're like, I have quite a few on my TBR. So I feel like the best way is probably to get into her newest one. So the tagline is 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. I don't feel like I need to know that much more. It's a thriller. It's gonna be good. I have From Lukov with Love. I feel like this, I don't know where I found this, but it's been on my TBR for years, but I can't like find a copy anywhere. So it says, after 17 years and countless broken bones and broken promises, Jasmine Santos knows her window to compete in figure skating is coming to a close. Figure skating! I love figure skating. Love it. Grew up with the Olympic figure skating. I mean, I didn't grow up with them, but like I feel like as a child of the 90s, like we were into the Olympics. Figure skating, gymnastics, so yeah. Checkmate by Allie Hazelwood. I want to read this very soon. This might be one that I like sit down and read while I'm still reading The Way of Kings, just to do like kind of a little bit of a palate cleanse. It's a short YA. It's Allie Hazelwood's first YA. I just know that people have been giving this good ratings, and I really like her books. The Love Hypothesis is one of my favorites. I have a Taylor Jenkins read, Forever Interrupted. I am working on her backlog as well while we wait for her to release something new. Carrie Soto, Daisy Jones and the Six, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like, so many good books she has written. And as I've been reading her backlog books, they are also good. So just amazing. So on a rainy New Year's Day, Elsie Porter heads out to pick up pizza for one. She isn't expecting to see anyone else in the shop, much less the adorable and charming Ben Ross. And then something happens and her life stops, and I don't feel like I need to know more to get into the story. I love her books. And then a super heavy book again, which I think like quite a bit of this is like afterword and references, because Isabel does so much research. So The Warmth and Other Suns is the epic story of America's Great Migration. So this is like Black Americans going from the South to the North. I don't know. From 1915 to 1970. Yeah. So I'm actually in the Sharon Says So book club, and this is one of the books we're reading this semester. So I purchased it for that. I have also read Cast by her, which was just 5 out of 5. Like, so amazing. And like heavy material, but not written like a textbook, like just so well written. And she uses a lot of like her personal story in Cast as well. I don't know if she'll do the same thing in The Warmth of Other Suns, but I'm excited to read this. And it's good to have motivation to read it, like reading it for a book club. And then in the Sharon Says So book club, at the end of us reading it, we do like some discussions, and then we have an author meetup. So we get to do a Zoom call where Sharon asks Isabel questions, and it's very exciting. I've seen met with some authors that I never would have dreamed of meeting with, and I just loved it. It's my favorite thing to watch those authors. All right, so that is my like physical TBR. Oh wait, there's another. Okay, these are books that I've already hauled. So I want to read all these books. I also want to read The Personal Librarian, which I've hauled in the past. I think she's a woman. I want to say that she is passing. Yeah, she's passing as a librarian for JP Morgan. I have Shadow of the Wind that I bought used. I really don't know much about this. I know it's a translated work, so I wanted to get it for that. And this has been on my TBR for a really long time. So I think that this year I either need to read it or just get rid of my copy, because it's just not going to happen. Like, at some point, there's just so many books to read. I also have some backlogged Kristen Hanna. The Things We Do for Love and On Mystic Lake. I feel like every Kristen Hanna book I read is amazing. Her newer ones are normally more historical and devastating, and I like those better. But her other contemporary have also been good. So these are just kind of on my TBR until I make them a priority. I have the next 2 books in the Holly Jackson, I don't know what A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I really liked this series. I bought them as a box set. My sister was borrowing The Good Girl Bad Blood, so I haven't read that one yet. And then As Good as Dead is the 3rd one. So these are on this one at least is on my pretty soon TBR. And then another one that I need to just read or get rid of is All's Well by Mona Awad. So she was incredibly hyped up because she wrote the book Bunny. And then I read the book Bunny and I like hated it because it's the feeling that you're high while you're reading. And I don't like that. I want to know what I'm reading. I don't want to be so confused, but like that's how she wrote it. So I respect that. But it doesn't actually make me want to read this book. I've heard good things about it. So again, if I don't read this by the end of 2024, I need to just sell it or get rid of it. All right. That's the physical TBR. And then I make a list every year of my TBR on Goodreads, and then their highest ratings from Goodreads, because I want to read the highest rated books. So from that I made a list, and then I highlighted the ones that I want to read the soonest, because most of the highest rated are epic fantasies, and I'm not gonna just read all epic fantasy books. That's such an undertaking. I would maybe read 50 books a year if I did that. And I just want to read so much more. So some of the books that I want to read soon, I have Skate Cute by Melissa, I should know how to pronounce this, Roche? This is my cousin's wife. This is her skating romance. It's I think it's between a skater and a fireman. It looks good. I am trying to download the book right now. She asked me to read it years ago, and I need a physical book for me to like see it. So I keep forgetting it because it's in my email. So I'm going to read that book. Then I have Kingdom of Ash, which I think is part of Throne of Glass. So I want to read the Throne of Glass series. I have read books 1 and 2, and now I am stopping because I want to read Assassin's Blade and then like follow the, like where you do like the tandem read. So all those books are going to be on here. The Running Grave by Robert Galbraith is another Cormoran Strike novel that recently came out. I think it's number 8. Such good book. So he's ex-army, and he lost a leg in like Iraq Desert Storm, and now he is a private investigator. So good. There's a little bit of romance, but like just epic mystery thriller. And in case you didn't know, Robert Galbraith is J.K. Rowling. So think about J.K. Rowling writing a mystery. They're very good. The Way of Kings is one that I'm reading. Ruthless Vows is this one. Plan to read that one soon. Queen of Shadows is another Throne of Glass. Empire of Storms, another Throne of Glass. Funny Story by Emily Henry. That's her new one. It's not out yet. I think August. I've pre-ordered it, so it'll just come when I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I love Emily Henry so much. Every Woman a Theologian by, I think it's Felicia Masonheimer. I've heard really good things about it. I think I have it on hold as an audiobook, but I might just need to read the physical copy. So I've heard great things, and she also was one of the speakers at a women's conference that I helped put on last year, and I really enjoyed her. The Familiar is a new Leigh Bardugo book, which is, she's one of my favorite authors. She wrote, what's it called? I'm going to have to look, because I know what's behind me. Shadow and Bone. She wrote Shadow and Bone. Those books are, and like Hellbent and whatever the prequel was to that. The Ninth House and Hellbent. Not a prequel, just the first one. So The Familiar, I think it's about a vampire, but it doesn't matter. I've already pre-ordered it because I'm going to read it. Things We Left Behind is the last in the Knock 'Em Out series of the Lucy Score book. Air of Fire is another Throne of Glass. Warmth of Other Suns is that epic Isabel Wilkerson book. This one. Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone is I don't know if it's the last in the series. Kind of hoping so, like at some point you just need to be done, but it's the most recent Outlander. So I was all the way caught up, and then she went and published another one. So I'm excited to read it. It's just another like 1,000-page book that you just can't just jump into those. A Day of Fallen Night is by Shannon, last name Shannon. The Priory of the Orange is so this is a prequel to The Priory of Orange. It's an epic fantasy, but it's a standalone, and then this is a prequel. So I don't feel like I have to read it, but I did really like it. It's like multiple points of view and like dragons and water dragons and sapphic love story. It was pretty epic. I liked it a lot. I've heard people either love it or hate it, so take with that what you will. Then I have A Medical Apartheid. I feel like I need to make it a priority or I won't read it just because it's kind of epic. And then Kate by, I think it's Tate James. That's the last in the, what is something Kate? This smutty series that I'm reading. So it's the last in that. So I just kind of want to finish that. Then Jay Kristoff has a series called The Empire of the Vampire. And I read his Nevernight series. It's like Nevernight, Dark Dawn. Like dark fantasy. So good. I gave all those 4 or 5 stars. So I feel like I need to read another series of his. And I love vampires. Perfect. Serpent and the Wings of the Night is that Oh, it's like deep on this pile, I think. Can I find it back? Here it is. That's this one. And then we have Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is this one. And Shadows of Self is the 5th of the Mistborn trilogy. So I thought that was done, but it sounds like there's a Mistborn trilogy, and then there's 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's like 4 more books that like clearly aren't in the trilogy, but they must be like a spin-off, or I'm not sure. But I'm willing to read them because they were very good. Then I have The Unmaking of June Farrow, because I know it's going to be good, and I need to just sit down and open it, and I will love it. The Butcher and the Blackbird, it's a story of like a serial killer love story, which if you know anything about me, you know I love the Mindfuck series, which is such a good book series. It's 5 like in one. And that was about a serial killer falling in love with an FBI agent. So this sounds great. I've only heard good things about it. I believe it is on the way to me in Amazon, or it's in my shopping cart, but I think I ordered it. So that should be coming to me. And then Allie Hazelwood is a very busy lady. So she has a book called Bride coming out. I believe I have that pre-ordered as well. And it looks like it's going to be like, she's like a vampire bride or like Dracula's bride. Like it's something, it's not like a cute bride, you know? Like it's a creepy gothic bride. Assassin's Blade and Tower of Dawn are 2 more Throne of Glass books. And then Mile High by Tom Ford. I think it's like a dad that's like a baseball player, like he's in sports somehow, and like falls in love with someone. So I've heard good things about that. That's a series. So those are the, like, I don't know, 10 or so. No, it's more than 10. I have 6 physical copies here that I'm prioritizing. 7, because I'm reading this right now. And then the others, like Throne of Glass, I'm not going to read all at once, obviously. Like maybe 1 or 2 a month, depending on how quickly I go through them. I want to say there's, what are there, like 7 or 8 of those? So, yeah. Will I get through all these? No. Maybe. It would be cool if I did. But that's the TBR. That's what I'm working on. And, yeah. I don't know how many of them I'm going to get through in January because of this friend. I would maybe, yeah, like I feel like this one would be a great palette cleanse. And this one. And probably these. If I read more books in January, it'll be these, I would think. And then I'll start this whenever the book club starts it, because I don't want to get too far ahead, because it's hard to like do the book discussions if you've read it before. Like I don't normally read the books if I've read them before, but I just would rather have this be fresh. And yeah, so that's it. That's TBR. That's the lofty goals. And now if you follow every month, you'll see how I do. And then I don't know, it would be fun to like review my TBR from the beginning of the year and see how well I do. So maybe I'll do that in December. Well, January of 2025, which will be here before you know it. But yeah, last year I think I did a really good job at getting through most of my physical TBR. Like there's just something about having a physical book to me that feels more like a priority. And in February, well, actually March, so the first like 10 days of March, I will be in Honduras doing cataract surgeries like I did last year and in 2020. And anytime I travel, I don't bring physical books with me because it's too much and I don't know what I'm going to read and it's not worth it in the suitcase. So I normally load up my Kindle with a bunch of books, and then of course I always have audiobooks available. But I'm going to try to get through some of my backlogged, like Libby and Hoopla, like ebooks, just because I don't choose to read ebooks when I can read a physical copy. So there's some like Kristen Hanna that have been on my TBR for a long time. I just don't pick them up because they're not a physical book or an audiobook. The Wrath and the Dawn is one that has been on my TBR for years. Jonathan and Mr. Norwell. There's just quite a few books that don't have audiobooks that I have access to, and I don't necessarily want to purchase them. So hopefully getting to those in March. And in February, I normally do romance. I'll probably be part of Summerween at some point. So they did Winterween, and it was like this past week. I was too overwhelmed with what I was doing to like pick up new books. And I'm reading The Way of Kings and trying to like really get into that. So I didn't feel like I needed to interrupt it for books with witches on them. It would have been one thing if I could have like read my TBR based on that, but it felt like I needed to go find different books, and I don't want to do that. But I will probably do Summerween, which is normally, I think it's in July. And that's always fun to read like creepy, spooky books in the middle of summer. And there's another, it's like Buzzword with Lalathon, so there are words that I'm supposed to do every month. So like January was there, or there, like all the different spellings. So I read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. There's not that many books with there, or there, at least not on like none of these around me have that, which is just mind-boggling. And then I think for February it's like nice words like cute, fun. And then there's like a title with like in it. So there's every month has something different. So I think that's something that I won't necessarily like pursue, but if I can make something work, I will. All right. I've said this multiple times. That's the TBR. That is my to be read books. And I read 200 books last year, so I could finish all these books. I'm not going to. I'm going to find new ones along the way. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, yeah, join me monthly. See you then.